episode 23 of the It's Personal podcast. And I'm here with the usual suspects. We got my brother, Alfred Clark. What's up, big bro?
Good with you.
We got Mark Smith, the man, the myth. What's going on, dog?
In the building again. What's good, family?
Glad you're here, brother. We got my brother, E. Rains. What's happening, man?
Peace and blessings, good people.
Can't forget about Mike J. What's happening, Mike J?
Ready to get it in. Number one LeBron hater here on deck.
Yeah. And my big bro, Andre Tweet Wallace. What's going on, man?
Ain't nothing, brother. I forgive LeBron for all of his transgressions.
It's funny you say that, man. Hey, it's funny you say that because this week's topic is forgiveness. And man, we're going to talk about how it applies to our community. You know what I mean? Where we at with forgiveness and because I've talked to my brothers during the week about this. So, as you'll see, when they bring their point, here at It's Personal, we feeling like forgiveness is holding our community back. We look around at other communities and from our angle, they seem a little more unified than us. We think of a million reasons not to love your brother, not to a million reasons, not to support your brother. Because it's just so much easier for us. Here there are a lot of ideas to why we're here. You know what I mean? Some are, we're victims, man. We're victims. We can't deny that. And a lot of where we are is because of that. But, we got to look at, what we can control. And for me, forgiveness starts with the person I'd be remiss not to mention being apologetic, being sincerely, because everybody deserves that, man. Before we get to, us being forgiven to our brother, you deserve to feel like, someone, if you were hurt, you deserve to feel like they are apologetic about it. They shouldn't come to you with nothing lame or nothing like that. You deserve that. But let's talk about if you don't get that. Let's just talk about that. Because my big bro, Mark, he and I talked about this during the weekend. He pointed something out to me that, I have been thinking about, coming up to the show. And that's, he said, in certain communities, man, they got each other back and they don't even gotta like each other. Because they understand the importance of unification, right? So we want to talk about forgiveness as it applies to unification. And we need each other, man. If there is a way for our people to get forward like we need to, or get to a place we need to get without forgiveness, it's not documented because the other cultures, the ones that are successful, they're unified. They got each other's back. They spend their money together. It is what it is. So we want to look at and I've been in a place, I want to say this before I pass it on. I'm gonna start with my brother Tweet this week. But I've been in a place where I needed somebody's forgiveness, really, really needed it because, I hurt somebody I really cared about. I've been in a place where someone wanted my forgiveness. And I've been in the place where I've chose not to give it to them. And, in hindsight, when I look at that, I got to be honest and say, I kind of liked the position I was in. It was a leverage place, and I played on that. You know what I'm saying? Because again, in hindsight, I've been in that place of needing forgiveness and kind of didn't want someone playing the leverage game with me. So, you know, in a place of growth, I can look back and see I've been in all those positions, man. But let's talk about forgiveness. What's going on, Big Brock? Tweet.
What's happening with you, baby?
Doing all right, man. What you got for me, man?
I mean, first thing I want to talk about is forgiveness within families. The strongest unit in our community is always the family unit. Everybody probably know, everybody on this podcast, everybody out here looking at this podcast, know people that, you know, when you talk about their a family member, not a stranger, not an acquaintance, a family member. Oh, I don't mess with them. They did such and such back in the day, or they did this, or they didn't show up for this, or they didn't show up for that. I don't mess with them. And that's your family member. So if you can't forgive your family member, you know, how is it we expect people to extend that forgiveness into the community? I'm gonna tell you a story. Just go back a long time, because, you know, Mike J gonna make fun of my age. So when I was in high school, I had a final exam, and I had a teacher named Paul Bell.
Back then? No, I'm not.
Well, actually, we just showed up in the cave and wrote on a rock. So I had a final exam. I believe it was world history. So I showed up to school. I came to school, and I went into the lunchroom. You know, it was final exam. I was a senior. Everybody was in the lunchroom talking. You know, everybody was doing exams at different times. And I was supposed to go to the exam. I got to talking, and I don't know why I did it. To this day, I can't tell you why I did it. I didn't go to the man's class. I stayed in there and talked the whole time. Didn't care about the consequences. And me and this teacher, we was pretty tight. So towards the end of the 2-hour period, he showed up. I don't know how he knew where I was. I don't know how he knew I was there. He might have been walking to the office, looked in the cafeteria, saw me. He showed up, just stood at the cafeteria door, and went like this to me. Ain't say nothing. I told everybody I gotta go. Walk now. When I tell you it was like 5 minutes until the period is up, it was like 5 minutes and it was done. So I knew I wasn't gonna be able to take the test. He walked me to the classroom, went to the door, said, wait right here. Let everybody come out the door. After the bell rang, let everybody come out the door. Everybody looked at me, what the hell is you doing? After everybody came out, he called me in the classroom. And he said, I don't know why you would do this to me. You know, he said, I'm really offended that you would not take my final exam. And he ended by this. He said, you know, Andre, he said, one of these days, you're going to want somebody to do something for you. And they might not do it. And left it at that. I didn't know what he meant. I'm a young 17-year-old kid. I don't know nothing. So later on, when I got my report card, you know, he gave me a passing grade on that final exam that I never took. As I got older in life, you know, I reflected on that and I thought about it. And I said, you know what? That man forgave me on the spot. He forgave me on the spot. And I could have, you know, who knows what could have happened if he had gave me a failing grade. So it sort of taught me that no matter what the transgression is, that person that does that is going to want somebody to do something for him. And why not me? Why not me? You know, you talk about forgiveness within the community. Forgiveness, I mean, it goes directly to grudges. You know, we hold grudges within the community that we grow up in. And what those grudges do, those grudges actually hold you back. You know, they hold you back from the blessings that you're supposed to probably get, and they hold the person back that you won't forgive or that you won't reconcile with, because to come to somebody and be able to, you know, especially from a man's standpoint, for a man to come to another man and extend his hand in condolence and not condolences, but in consultation, and say, hey, listen, man, you know, I know we disagree about this, or I know this happened, you know, you did this with me, but we okay. Let's move forward from here. You know, that's what a man do. You know, that's what a man does. And we can do that within the community. We can do that within the family. And again, forgiveness is a way of moving forward. Holding grudges and not forgiving is actually a way of holding us back. And if we're talking about moving our community forward, moving forward as a people, we have to learn to forgive each other and take those steps in the moving forward.
Hey, that's a good piece, man. Yeah, and I'm definitely want to get back to you at some point tonight. But I want to speak towards those. I want to speak towards those group of people that are at home saying right now, "Oh, but you don't know what he did."
Yeah.
I want to talk to him. I want to talk to him, the one that I don't know what he did. This circumstances is unforgivable. It just, you don't know what he did, people, for a while. You know what I mean? How do these people move on, man, from where they are?
Before you pass that one on, can I jump in on that?
Go ahead. Absolutely. Go ahead, bro.
You said about this forgiveness. There's some things that just flat out cannot be forgiven. Like there's just no fucking way. Everyone kind of has their own thing. To me, as a community, we need to have like just some flat out shit that just will not happen. You know what I'm saying? Every other community, you watch how you Smitty, you gonna say something smart on this one. You watch how you talk to brides and how you respect the brides and stuff like that. You gotta watch this. You gotta be mindful of children and your elders and protectful of both. Those are really built into basically every culture. We're speaking directly more so about our own culture, the Black, African American, Negro, colored culture, whatever you want to call it. We don't really have that anymore. And we know why everything is split up. But as a community, we need to have a certain line that you just cannot cross. And as the entire community, regardless of whether you are strong or powerful, whether the person who created the offense is close to you or not, like for perfect example, child molestation. To me, I can't possibly conceive why they're walking around. You know what I'm saying? Like people get, I mean, that you need to have a set of morals and a set of principles that are universal to everyone kind of involved to be able to sit there and say, to even have a chance at forgiveness. And we don't, what you would consider personally offensive to you would mean absolutely nothing to me, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? But that's you talking about, well, what about you don't know what he did? You know what I'm saying? That's usually where that comes into play. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of you, it may be petty to you. I mean, the nigga ate the big piece of chicken, but you the one that works every day. You know what I'm saying? You the one that's out in you know what I'm saying? So only having a small little bite means a whole lot more to a nigga who's living in your house rent free for however long. And not even, you know what I'm saying? So all of those things can play a factor, but you got to have a baseline on this is a line you just simply cannot cross. And then that's on that piece. And then the other thing is, y'all kind of know me well. Kenny, you know me a little better. You know who my mother is.
Yes.
My whole concept of forgiveness is based off of that, bride. Like no bullshit. Stuff I've said and done to her, and I ain't wake up with like a knife in my chest. That like real talk.
We love you. Thank you for watching too. Dude.
And the thing that she would always use is unconditional love. You know what I'm saying? She would always say to me, I love you so much, I forgave you before you even did what you did. As long as it's just it weren't those certain things. in our community, we don't have unconditional love for one another. Like you were talking about, unity is the most important in a lot of different cultures. So we may not love each other unconditionally, but we love the unity that we have in our culture. So I will always support you and shit like that. That's the other side of the coin that we don't have to this whole forgiveness issue, is the shit you just simply can't do that's unforgivable. And the love and respect, or at least the self-awareness that if we're going to survive, if our families are going to survive, we need to have some type of unconditional love for one another. So as you kind of like suss out this whole conversation of forgiveness and shit, those would be the 2 points that I would kind of focus on.
I hear you. I like that too. Yeah, man. Unconditional love. That's definitely got to come into play. You know, you got to be ready to look past the transgressions of your brother and sincerely want the best for them. You got to start there, because if your love isn't sincere for your community or your people, then it's so like my big bro told me earlier this week, it's so easy to just walk away. You know, it's easier to say, F it, man. I don't care, man. I don't need you, man. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But there's growth, and it's more powerful if you can come together, find that place and say, man, you know what? What's more important is let's keep it moving. Let's address this, because that, it will rear its ugly head if you don't. But let's keep it moving. Big E-Range, what you got for me, man? You wanna come in early? Is this a little too early?
No, no, man. I normally do like the vibe off my team, man.
Right,
But you know,
right.
um, so for me, man, me being me in the way I do things, man. I just want to read the definition. All right, before I even get started, I want to read the definition of forgiveness and kind of elaborate on what that means to me. And like you said, man, how we fail in one another in our community with the lack thereof. So this says psychologists generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness or not. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean condoning or excusing offenses. So when I think about forgiveness, and obviously I already knew what the definition of the word is, because I'm a very forgiving person myself, to a fault at times, as many as my close friends would tell me, man. I've allowed people to, from their perspective, take advantage of me because I am a forgiving person. But I just to clear that up, I would never let anybody take advantage of me. Can't nobody do nothing that I don't allow them to do. So it's all in how we see ourselves and what we determine as being disrespected or used or taken advantage of or whatever. But with that being said, man, when you think about the word forgiveness and being able to release all those negative feelings, like just completely get rid of it. It's like I really don't believe and I hate to generalize and say this about us as a people or any one person or any people in general, but I find it hard to believe that, and I'm just going to say we, since we're talking about us and so much that goes on in our community. I really don't think we understand how to forgive, bro. I really don't even know if when I say we, that doesn't mean any one person on this podcast. I'm generalizing, speaking about us as a people. I don't even think we know wholeheartedly what forgiveness is. To even as short as that definition is that I just read, I'm sorry, as it relates to releasing those feelings of resentment, vengeance. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tweet talked earlier about forgiving family, forgiving friends, this, that, and the other. And I want to just specifically apply forgiveness to me in the current situation I'm dealing with, you know, and I don't want to make this about me, but I'm, you know, I'm dealing with some things right now because I was in a situation dealing with my sister, man, leading up to her untimely passing, where I found it hard to forgive her for some things she said and did and some choices that she made. And without going into too much detail on that, I'm so thankful. All right, my sister, you know, she was in the wrong, and she put us in a position where we didn't speak for a year. All right, we didn't speak for a year, and I'm thankful for whatever reason, man. You know, she found it in herself to reach back out to me and apologize for her wrongdoing. Because had she not done that, and I was sitting on my pride, standing strong on my square, like, okay, well, you're gonna need me before I need you type of mentality. You know, there's a possibility where I would have never heard from my sister again before she passed. And I don't even know if I could have lived with myself because of my foolish pride and my ego, knowing I'm the bigger brother, knowing I'm the bigger man in any other circumstance. Why couldn't I be big enough to understand? And this go back to even what I said, man, about compassion. You know, another thing that I think we struggle with and being able to put ourselves in other people's shoes and understand what they're going through. And when you can learn how to show compassion or be compassionate to another person, I think it makes it all that much more easier to be able to forgive somebody. Because when you look at what somebody do and be like, oh man, you did this, what? As opposed to like, damn, I wonder why he did that. You know, let me maybe it's something going on. And then you figure out that, hey man, you know, such and such just happened to this person and he's been struggling emotionally and mentally for this amount of time. So this is why he did X, Y, and Z. Now don't make it right, but at least you come from a place of understanding where you can be in a better position to forgive that person. And going back to my situation, man, you know, so we didn't speak from August 2019 to August 2020. And we really just started picking back up in our correspondence and our communication right around October, November, you know. And I had just spoken to her again 10 days before she passed. But like I said, man, I let a whole year plus go past. And now I live with this. And my point is this, man, holding on to those negative feelings, man, holding on to that resentment and that feeling of vengeance, man, it's dangerous. It's dangerous not only for the person that needs your forgiveness, but it's dangerous to you as an individual to be harboring those negative feelings, to be harboring that negative energy. I think when you hold on to that type of those type of feelings, man, it just, I think it harbors pain, man. You holding on to pain, and as a result, we act a certain way when we hurt, man. And I just think it's so important to be able to forgive, man, and show compassion, man, for your own sake, man. And like I said, man, had my sister, and I thank God, man. I'm religious. I believe in God. I know, different people on different strokes, man, but and I believe He works in mysterious ways. I'm just so thankful that although I couldn't find it in myself to forgive at the time, obviously, I ultimately forgave her, especially when she apologized to me. But I felt like an idiot, man, initially. And I'm still living with regret right now. I'm thinking to myself right this moment as we having this conversation, damn, I wonder if things could be different right now had I got up off of my box and still been in that corner, supporting, regardless of the things that were said and done that hurt me, knowing I knew better, knowing I knew where those things were coming from. I wonder if I could have changed that situation right now. I wonder if I could have showed her the love and the attention and the support so much more so that, she would be here today. And I know I probably shouldn't be putting that on myself, man, but I'm just saying this to say, man, it could be a lot worse for me right now had I not had the opportunity. And thanks to her for reaching out and patching things up, man. I'm just thankful, man. You know, you look at us as a community, man. We in line for Jordan. Somebody cutting the line because they try and get the Jordans, and next thing you know, that man dead. You know, somebody cutting the line at the Popeyes for a chicken sandwich. This man dead. Like, what are we doing out here, man? We got friends and family that we ain't spoke to. I just use my own personal situation as an example over just pride, man. But in order for us to move forward, you're gonna have to apologize to me. You're gonna have to, and look, I get that. We all been there. I was just there with my sister, man. Personally, this is super personal to me, man. But at the end of the day, man, the reality of it is, man, tomorrow ain't promised. The next hour, your next breath is not promised. And when you really sit back and digest and break down what the beef is about and what y'all ain't speaking about, most times it's petty, man, and it's salvageable. And you sitting there, we losing the most precious thing in the world right now, which is time. It's the most valuable thing in this world. You can never get it back, ever. So let's stop wasting time, man. Let's stop being petty, man. You know, let's nip some things in the bud, put it out on the table, let you understand where I'm coming from, how you made me feel, how I made you feel, you know. And just because we forgive, like the definition say, that don't mean we forget. I mean, we got to live and we got to learn, man. We can't be putting ourselves out here, you know, just to be ran over, you know, by the same person over and over again. You know, I got some situations where I forgave and I forgave and I forgave, and the same thing just kept happening and kept happening and kept happening. And then ultimately, you know, I forgive, but I just got to separate, man. I just got to separate. I got to protect myself at some point too. So, you know, as a community, man, whether, you know, it's a stranger or not, man, we like Alfred said about his mom, man, I know that's a different type of love, and parents can do that, can forgive before you even commit the crime. That's a godly thing, by the way, Alfred. That's a godly thing right there, to be able to forgive somebody before they even do it, because you love them that much. You understand? There's like you said, there's certain things that, look,
That's a
man.
low blow right there. E.
Now I know, and I had to hit you with that gut shot, man, and let you know, man. That's just some godly wisdom you spitting right there, man. But yeah, man. Without me getting too long winded, man. Look, I wanted to share that there's a couple of other things, personal experiences that I could share, but I think that's the most sensitive one for me right now in terms of where I'm at and dealing with my sister, man. And it's a little bit of subtle regret. And it's not a good feeling, man. It's not a good feeling. And if, you know, if we could learn to forgive, like you saying, Kenny, and like we all believe, man, and our whole purpose for this movement right now, oh my goodness, man, who could stop us? Who could stop us, man? You think about it being Black History Month right now, and all the great creators and everything that we built and how we put this country together, man. Who could stop us, man? We too busy stepping on each other's toes, man. All because we can't forgive for this, or we jealous of this, and he got this and I don't. We gotta pull it together, man. That's pretty much it for me, man. In a nutshell, man. I don't want to get, like I said, too long-winded, man. You know, I'll chime back in later if I got some more, but that's pretty much
Yeah,
it for the
man. That's the whole, you know, how you close it out. And thanks for sharing so you know, that story so personal, man. You know, that says a mouthful, man. You know, tomorrow's not promised. You know, is it really worth it? You know what I mean? You know, holding those grudges, a lot of times when you really look at it, you know, it wasn't even that serious, man. You know, I know hoods that were beefing with hoods growing up, and if you ask them how they originated, they have no idea. They killing each other because they live over there. When we grew up, I mean, killing each other because he from there. You know what I mean? Hey, brother Mark.
Yes, sir.
You heard us, man. You know, you got a lot to jump off of, man. You got something for us?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be too long before you. I'm kind of running on films right now, but some great things definitely was said by everyone. And I will say that I'm one of these people that um, I like to think that I have thick skin. Not too much. I mean, not too much really ruffles me. There are some things like Alfred said that are, you know, they're deal breakers. You know, and these are uh, gross offenses, in my opinion. And we as a community should basically police our own when it comes to these things. And like when you talk about child molestation and those things, like he mentioned, I agree with it. But I feel like we as a people walk around emotional, sensitive, and easily, you know, we offend easily, and I just don't think it serves us really well to be like that. And to me, what it seems to me like the problem is that we were hurt when we were by family or by someone, and we didn't know how to basically properly deal with it. We didn't know how to forgive when we were younger. So now we walk around, and when someone else looks like that they're behaving the way that we were hurt in the past, we automatically revert back to that pain from when we were younger, and then automatically we have a new situation that seems to be blown up, but really you're seeing that person as the old one, the old family member or the old friend that hurt us back when we were younger. And to me,
Right.
when you're harboring uh, pain like that long, each time what you're doing is you're revisiting that account of whatever happened to you. And the first account when it happened to you initially was trauma. It traumatized you. Every time you recall it, you re-traumatizing yourself. So the benefits of really forgiving someone really is for yourself, I believe, even more so than the other person. You're not hurting the other person who hurt you ain't even thinking about you. They moving on with their lives and growing and progressing, and some of them have turned around. If they were bad back in the past when you got hit in the crossfire by them, a lot of people have changed and have grown up and moved on, and you're still holding on to when they did something back in grade school, you know. And all you doing is, like I said, you just re-traumatizing yourself every time you keep recounting it, and you're the one that's hurting yourself. You poisoning your own body. You got people walking around with physical pain, and the pain is from that. Sometimes you need to forgive people and let some stuff go, man, and let you and let your body heal from that. You know, shoulder pains and neck pains and sore. You know, your left side sore, and you don't know why you can't get rid of that tension there. Man, sometimes it's forgiveness, man. We'll be surprised, man, how that works with our brain and our psyche. But yeah, for our community, man, I would say that we definitely need to forgive. Number one, if you're harboring old uh, unforgiveness, you need to let that go. Let it go, man. It happened. It's done. You know, the person did what they did. Okay, you're still living. You're not dead. You know, and I know some things are horrible, and I don't want to diminish whatever happened to some people. Some things were horrible, but at the end of the day, um, you know, if you get counseling, if you haven't gotten counseling, you need to get counseling for that because you're the one that's still suffering. It's, you know, if what happened to you in the past was horrible, then don't, if you keep reliving it, then now you're making it worse, basically. It's almost like you're making it happen over and over and over again. And for your own sake, you know, you need to get counseling. You need to deal with that. so you can move on with your life. But back to our community, that we need to forgive one another. I mean, that's the only way we're going to make it. We're going to have to forgive each other. That's the only way we're going to make it. We're going to come together as a people. And I have these conversations a lot with people when I get into the work that we're doing, and they'll tell me, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to work, man. And then they go into, do you know who hurt me the worst? Black people. Black people hurt me the worst. Black people, I had it this, and then they go into their story, and I'm like, yeah, that's usually how it works when you're around Black people. If you're around you get hurt by the people you're around the most. That's just how that's just how this thing works, So anyway, man, all I'm saying is, people, at the end of the day, other cultures they understand basic survival 101. 101. They understand that everyone else is united. They understand that you need unity. You need to come together. You need to work together. You need to build together. You need to put your resources together in order to survive on this planet. It is savage. We're in a world, we're on a planet that is savage. And so you need your flock. You can't afford to say, I don't need you. No, you need your flock. Bottom line. So we're gonna have to get this thing together, man. We gotta get this thing together. Forgiveness, love. Yes, love is behind all of that, man. Without love, I mean, you're not gonna forget. It's not gonna work without love, man. So we definitely gonna have to get that thing together. I'm done right now. I'm gonna lob it to who is that it? My sister not here. Shout out to my sister. We're missing the beautiful one on the show tonight. She's not feeling well.
Sure.
And
shout out, Raina. We love you.
Yeah, man. But yeah,
yes, indeed.
But that's all for now.
That's what happened when you ride around in a truck with Andre Wallace for 6 hours.
Damn it, Dre.
Hey, so listen. He made some good points. And I don't want to stray away from unification too. I want to talk about forgiveness, but we got to remind our people, because I know it's still some people sitting back watching like, man, they don't know what happened to me. And we just got to remind everybody why we even talking about this, man. It is the formula to grow. All of us want growth in our community. All of us wants the generations behind us to have a better life, and have a routine to where down the line we progress as a community, man. We understand it's not going to happen in our lifetime. We're trying to plant the seed, show everybody. You know what I mean? The formula. Listen, we might be fighting this portion of the battle until I'm gone. But this is where we are, and this is where we got to fight, man. Hey, brother Mike J, man. What you got for us, man?
God forgives.
But you don't.
Wow. Hey, look, I didn't even know where you was going with that. I'm gonna keep it real.
Nah, on forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that I feel like it has to be in you. You know what I'm saying? People judge people all the time. We come from a community where that's what it is. People make their own perception, no matter what you're doing in these streets, good, bad, and ugly, just based off of some hearsay, she say, whatever. You gotta have thick skin in times like these. I don't know if you remember the dude we used to he was like a counselor / therapist we used to see in high school. Kenny called his name was Terry Schuster, white man with a bald head, had the beard.
Yeah. I remember him. Yeah.
Hey, he used to drop jewels, like real jewels and gems if you just sat down and listened to him. And I used to have a real hard time with anger. I was an angry kid. Like, I didn't give a shit about anybody or anything. And he used to always say to me, just because you feel that way and the things that you doing to other people, that doesn't make it right, doesn't necessarily make it wrong. But you got to find within yourself a way to live with who you are. And until you find out who you are, you ain't gonna be able to coexist in this environment, in this world, regardless of where you end up. Whether you end up in jail, whether you end up dead, whatever, you got to find out how to deal with yourself. And that hit home when I was 16, 17 years old. And I started looking at the way I was doing things and handling things. Now, mind you, I did a lot of shit through those years from the ages of 12 to 20, you know what I'm saying? But you got to realize that when you get to a certain age, if you still the same person you was at 20 years old, at me, like I'm 44 now, at 44, something is wrong. Something has to give. Like, what's really going on out here? Like,
I don't know.
why
I
are
kind
you?
of disagree with that statement a little bit, though.
It's okay.
That
That's because you
that
got 2
20/40
screws
thing.
loose. I only got one. I understand why you disagree with me. But what I'm saying is that you have to actually own and have accountability for yourself before you start looking for accountability for somebody else. And that's how I look at it. So that's
Say
what
that
I have
again.
to say about
Say
it.
that again, preacher. Say that one more time, Pat.
I'm not preaching out this, Roy. I'm
No,
just
seriously,
just
I'm
giving you
Hey,
the
but
real.
you didn't know
I'm
that when you was
serious.
20?
hold on, Alfred.
When I was
seriously.
20, I was still going through some hurt shit. You know what I'm saying? These bitches, man, they hurt me bad.
Here y'all
That
go,
day.
man.
So I was
Nigga, I'm
done.
42 and I'm hurt. I still,
Hey,
well,
I'm no longer hurt behind all that shit. But at 20, I was still kind of hurt out here. But it's all good. Like I said, but you got to start taking accountability for yourself before you start expecting somebody else to be accountable for their actions. So that's how
That's what I
forgiveness
wanted.
works.
I wanted to hear that part again. That part right there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
But
you're
again,
exactly right.
you can't give forgiveness to people that don't hold themselves accountable. They're always making excuses for their actions. That's why, like you
Right.
said, you got to separate sometimes. You got to separate for those people that can't hold themselves accountable or want to scapegoat the accountability. You got to just be like, you know what? I'm done. You just want to be my friend, or you just want to be on my line because you see that it could lead you somewhere. That's why I said when me and Kenny go through, we do that shit all the time. That's why I was like, me and Kenny good. We gonna be good. We've been dealing with this type shit since we was 14 years old. But it's other motherfuckers that we know that we grow up with. You can never let them back in circle because some things are just unforgivable. In my opinion.
Hey, Mike, I want to just comment on one thing you just said about the accountability, because although you're right, and I agree about the person that you want to give forgiveness to, about them also being able to hold themselves accountable. But I feel like, man, it's hard to forgive somebody if you can't even hold yourself accountable and recognize your part in the whole situation. So it's always a two-way street, man. And I think in order to get to a place where you personally can forgive somebody, you got to sit back, look at yourself and say, hey, man, I need to hold myself accountable for my part in making him, you know, and maybe I said something to make him act a certain way, and I got to hold myself accountable for that so I can be in a place of forgiveness, man.
Again, and that's how the circle of life go, man. But again, it's like we all have different relationships with different people. Just like Alpha said, Kitty know him better, know his mother. There's certain things that they know about each other that we don't know about. There's certain things that me and you know about each other because we know each other's families differently than everybody else on here. So everybody's relationship with people is different. And you got to realize that some people will put things out there in the stratosphere in the universe just because they want to make themselves look better than they really are. They don't want to hold themselves accountable. And that's the issue that I have within our community, within our race, as in general. We start that shit and don't ever really want to end it. It's an ongoing cycle. That's why when you create that new society, everybody can't go. I'm sorry to say. I know Mark want to bring everybody, but everybody can't go.
Now I agree with you 1,000% on that one. And the perfect example is, like, let's say for instance, like a bride who dealing with a nigga that dumb knuckles on her or something like that, and then she don't want to tell nobody. Don't press no charges. She might stick around another 6, 7 years and 3 or 4 babies and still get her ass beat because she'll finally leave.
Yep.
But dude never had that point where he's held accountable for his wrong.
Exactly.
And yeah, he shouldn't be dumping knuckles on her, but she just as wrong for allowing him to continue to do so and then get away with it. And that's
Yeah.
the same thing for these grandmothers that's looking out for their favorite little son who can't keep his hands off the nephew,
Mhm.
or the wicked sister or the wicked aunt that's stealing from everybody behind everybody's back and shit like that. Like we not the stealing part you can kind of forgive. Not you might have to cut the bitch off to the money.
Enablers.
But there's just some things where like you see you can't bring that shit to the new house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like killing kids. Niggas is shooting up back like it used to be like a little 5-year-old, 7-year-old get shot in the city. You want to march and do a vigil, and then you want the police to go get them. I remember a time where some shit like that happened, and it was dealt with by the community. You know what I'm saying? They know who did it. They know this
Mhm.
little nigga been acting up, and the people who live there, whether it's an OG, whether it's a deacon at one of the churches, or whether it's somebody that just don't want their hood being just run over by animals, they'll handle the situation and actually handle it instead of some fake ass bullshit where charges don't get pressed or whatever. It's that whole accountability piece that also the word that keeps popping up in my head is value. Like the scenario you that you gave about you and your sister. You was talking about how whatever the offense was, you pulled back. But you even got to a place where even when she reached out to you, you had to get to a place where you valued her enough and you valued that relationship enough where forgiveness is even possible. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't Kenny, you have made a comment about two neighborhoods beefing with each other. And the only reason why is because you live on this side and I live on that side. And then you talk to them, they don't even know what the fuck is going on. If you locked up with most cats that did anything from some dumbass shit like burglary to even killing somebody, 9 times out of 10, the regret, man, I ain't even know Slim was that young, man. I ain't even know he was just robbing niggas because his mama died and he was taking, you know what I'm saying? Like all of these different scenarios comes into after the fact because we don't value one another. You know what I'm saying? The
That's
family
called compassion.
compassion is part of value. You can't be compassionate to something that you don't have value in. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's like white people and their dogs or Jewish people and their money, you know what I'm saying? You value
So
certain
wrong.
things
Oh
and
shit.
you
That was so
treat it a
wrong.
certain
We about to get banned on YouTube.
That was so wrong.
well, I didn't say that last part. That was my autocorrect fucked up. But anyway, it's that value structure. So just like how there needs to be a path of we have to forgive you, there has to be a reason to forgive. And it's the value that you have, whether it's the unity, whether it's family, whether it's there's strength in numbers. But at the same time, to protect that unity that you creating, you've got to, like Smitty, you say it all the time, you kind of got to self-purge some of these people that are preying on us. Because that's really is what's going to stop us from being able to do anything in the long run. You know what I'm saying? And it's being able to call people out and people being able to say, yeah, I was wrong. I shouldn't have knocked down your wife. My bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, whatever that offense was.
Yeah, self purge and accountability, accountability within the community is huge, man. I want to. Something came to mind while you were talking. I want to mention how a lot of times when we would talk about, how police lash out at us, how the government has been attacking us since we were freed, since we got here. And you'll hear people say, you know, well, black on black crime, or why you worried about, worry about y'all killing each other. I do want to address those people who make those statements, who don't care about our community. That is just some deflection on addressing, how our police kill our black men, and how supremacy has been camouflaged in our police system since day one. You know what I mean? We're not.
Camouflage is like a bold fucking word. Cops started off as slave catchers.
Not to us.
So
Not to us. Not to
yeah,
us. It ain't camouflage.
To say camouflage, that's kind of pushing it. But I get where you're going.
Yeah, but I do want to say something, and we see you people. You don't care that
What you mean, you people?
My little brother or my little brothers are out there killing each other. You don't care. You want to deflect. But we do need to address the issues within, and it needs to come from us. It needs
honestly,
to come
you
from
gotta forgive them. You gotta forgive them, because you gotta understand the place where they come from. 9 times out of 10, most niggas that think that way have been in a situation where, for whatever reason, the value of niggas has been greatly decreased. Whether it's through upbringing and family, whether it's through some type of an event, they got jumped by a bunch of black dudes, so they only hang around with Spanish and white people, or whatever it is, whatever people want to have in a reason. You still have to. It's a two-sided coin. The individual needs to find that value in the community, and the community needs to show that value to the individual. So if you are a young lady where, if niggas put their hands on you and every other dude saw it, didn't do anything but record it, you are not going to have, not only are you not going to have respect for the dude that just whooped your ass, you have no respect for every other nigga that was around watching that happen. You know what I'm saying? And then when every other nigga start talking about that shit happening, and they sitting there playing ball with the same cat, and they talk about that nigga just got shot, so he got a rest in peace Charles shirt on. But Charles done knocked the shit out of damn near every broad in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And no one has ever confronted him about it. You can't expect this woman to value black men that she's been around. So just like how Smitty was talking about, that's the initial trauma. Every time a black man is late to a meeting, this bitch, their opinion is worse. Every time she's cut off in traffic by a nigga bumping Lil Boosie, she's even madder. You know what I'm saying? And you could probably put that shit in the mind of a Karen, but they're really not our issue right now. We're talking about our own community. The community needs to go above and beyond to show the value of each member of the community. That's why we got to forgive even the ones that you're talking about, except for the rapists and the child touchers. But the individual has to show value. Like, I'm getting long-winded, so let me make this point and I shut up. Like when we all used to go out, we knew if we all going together, we all coming home together. Part of that responsibility is don't start no dumb shit for no fucking reason, even though that doesn't always work out that way. You know what I'm saying? It was each member of the crew had the same responsibility. Don't do no dumb shit, but at the same time, if some dumb shit pop off, we all in this together. You know what I'm saying? We have that same kind of mindset. I don't want you to
go nowhere with that. Hold on. I don't want you to go nowhere with that. So are you saying that we are all our responsibility? Because then we backtracking a little bit, because we talked about self-purging and kicking
self-purging isn't just as an individual. Self-purging is the community is the self. The community is self. The community is purging in itself. When I say so, the community needs to self-purge. That's not an individual thing. That's a responsibility for each member of the community. And just like let's say, for instance, I don't agree with man-on-man doing it, right?
Sword fight,
So
sword fight.
let's say I want to get
Hey.
that out of the community. I would be wrong to do that. And it would be up to the community to stop me from doing that just because I disagree with it, because they have just as much right for their little fruit booty asses to be part of the community.
You couldn't help yourself, man.
Couldn't. I mean,
Hey, look, man. Let me just say this though, man, because we talking about all the, as a community, and I was just sitting here thinking, right, even kind of backtracking on something I said earlier. It ain't really a backtracking. I guess it's just a revelation I'm having right now, because if you think about it, man, we are really the most forgiving people on the planet, bro.
by
We've
design.
been
The problem
conditioned to be
is,
that way.
the problem is we forgiving the wrong people. We forgiving
Hello.
everybody but ourselves.
Well, that's my point.
And I'm just sitting here
Hello.
thinking, like, I'm like, hold up, man. I'm even reading the definition of forgiving. I'm sitting here looking at the computer right now. They got 12 steps to forgiving, 15 steps to forgiving. The Bible say this about forgiving. Like we got all sorts of doctrine on what forgiveness is. And you know what? We know what it is, because we forgive the white man on every turn. And I hate to make it a
That's
white man, black man, and I don't mean to offend
We hear
nobody.
you, brother. We know exactly what you mean. Go ahead.
And I'm just hoping, man. I don't know how many people gonna get to see this and how many people gonna continue to follow us. But this topic right here, forgiveness, is so much deeper than any of us could really elaborate on right now, man. Because it is the epitome of why we out here killing and doing what we doing to each other. Why we are where we
Some
are.
people, but some
right now.
people don't want forgiveness. They want forgetness. They want you to forget what they did.
Hello.
They really don't care if you forgive them or not. They want
because
you
they're not holding themselves accountable.
exactly.
Those
Right.
That's
kind
what
of
it's
people need to
about.
be
Right.
purged out.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about that. So Alfred just went on, and I think either Mark or Kenny did, and we all talked about self accountability, man. I can't expect. Look, I expect people to do what they supposed to do because it's the right thing to do, man. Not because of what the next man is doing. And I told y'all earlier, I talked to y'all a couple of this week, man. When I look at y'all in a certain way, dog, Kenny, I expect you to do what you supposed to do because it's the right thing to do. Not because he man, I don't. Man, so what? You
sound
gotta
just
do
like 'em.
what's right for you to do, bro. That's what it come down to. We all worried about. Well, he ain't hit me. He ain't called me, and he
Oh, that's
ain't
Mike.
acknowledging.
That's that's the alpha male. That's when you're dealing with
Right.
alpha male. Like you gotta understand the
listen,
alpha.
man, we can sit here and rightfully so, because it's valid to say we have excuses for being conditioned the way we are. We already know that, bro. But we also know what's right, what's wrong. We just a prideful people, man. And our pride be misdirected, man. It's man, Slim carried me on the court in front of everybody, man. He gotta die for that. Ain't no way in the world I can find. He can't
do shit about a cop killing your best friend.
But
Exactly.
But that white policeman run up on your block, get your best man out the way, and you ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Nothing.
But it's just not on the street. It's like what about those wives that work for them bosses that are just completely disrespectful and be carrying the shit out of them, overworking them, underpaying them, and all that, talking to them any old kind of way for that paycheck? They will watch their mouths. They'll be in a whole marriage with a dude that's really
Right.
trying his best.
True
You
shit.
know what I'm saying?
That
The
don't mean-
father
that
of the
don't-
kids, and then
that don't
she'll
mean
talk to this
it's a
man
forgiveness
any
thing,
old
though.
kind of way. Like that is just as big of an issue in our quote unquote community and our sense of value for one another as a nigga that's dumping hands on the bitch. Like it's just as bad. You know what I'm saying? Like you've gotta it's I think Tweet was one of the first people to talk, and that he mentioned that it starts with the family. You know what I'm saying? That's the mother and the father, and how you treat each other. And if y'all not together, it's how the baby mama and the baby daddy treat each other. You can still be a family and not be against each other, not be toxic to one another, not use one another, and build each other up and support one another. That's and especially if you're in a situation where y'all not together, but you can still make the family dynamic work. That's even a bigger lesson for your kids, that you can actually be successful with a motherfucker you don't like. You know what I'm saying? And or being in school and having a teacher you don't like, or especially most of us playing sports, having that coach we couldn't stand. But when we play for that coach, it's probably some of the most informative parts on our quote unquote athletic careers, because of so many different reasons. You gotta, it's, to me, once again, and my bad, Eric, for being long-winded, value for one another. It's you can't have
go hand in
forgiveness
hand.
if you don't have value.
It definitely go hand in hand. This is my last
Yeah.
interjection, because I know Dre's trying to jump in here real quick. And
Yeah.
I just want to, Mark said something earlier, right? He said, man, other cultures, right, can forgive each other and keep it moving, not even like each other, but forgive each other so that they can move forward towards the agenda, towards the goal. And at the end of the day, like Slim, whatever the case may be between me and this next man, or you and the next man, or whatever, just to use ourselves as examples, like, and bring it back, really bring it back community related. It's like, we have to learn to be able to forgive and still say, hey, okay, I don't like this person, but I'm gonna forgive, because I can't have that weighing on me. I can't have that holding me back. And I can't be walking around with all this vengeance and all that energy, like I said earlier, man. So I think it's okay to forgive and not necessarily have to like the individual. I done forgave somebody that I don't like no more, man. I forgive you though, cuz I forgive you. You know what I'm saying? But that's that, man. Go ahead, Dre. I'm sorry.
You good? Listen, bro, you good? Hey, listen, man. As usual, on these Monday evenings, my little brother Kenny will drop a seed. He'll drop a seed in the ground, and we just make it grow. And it'd be different types of branches. So I mean, we talking about forgiveness, man, and we actually went into a lot of aspects that control the ability to forgive. We went into compassion. We went into responsibility. We even went into, the community purging. We went into
accountability. Yeah.
I mean, we looked at a lot of things that actually feed into being able to forgive. I just want to touch base on something a lot of y'all said. First thing I want to touch base on is I think that to an extent, when we talk about our people being forgiven towards some other people or something else, as opposed to being forgiven towards ourselves, or as a woman being forgiven towards a man, or a worker being forgiven towards a boss. I don't want you to mistake submission with forgiveness. Just because someone submits to another does not mean that they forgive. And Eric, what you talk about, I mean, even what you talk about with your sister, that you harbored some emotions towards whatever went on between you and her, and you harbored it for a while, and then she came and y'all reconciled. What I'm telling you, and what I'm telling everybody out there listening to us, this the part where I give out wisdom. Y'all know what wisdom is, wise words being spoken. This is part where I give out wisdom. When you do that, when you hold that resentment and you don't forgive, you consume it yourself. Whatever that person did to you, or whatever feelings that you have over that, you consuming yourself. And we saying, well, you can't forgive the really, really egregious acts of child molestation, murder, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that we can cue card forgiveness. Forgiveness got to be individual. An individual got to be able to say to himself, I need to forgive that person for that egregious act. And I can do that to move on. So I don't think forgiveness can be boilerplate. I think it got to be individual. You know, personally, you know, we have things we be like, nah, I'm not forgiving nobody over that. Hell no. And that's your choice. That's your personal choice. But I don't think that we can put a cue card on forgiveness. Another thing, a long time ago, I read a book by Nate McCall, and it was called "Make Me Wanna Holler." Get that book if you got a chance. If you like to read, get that book. It's about he was a writer. He's a reporter for one of the big syndicated newspapers, and he grew up in Portsmouth, Virginia. He wasn't in a gang, but you know they did a lot of gang related stuff growing up, and you know he just did a lot of stuff growing up. And later on in life, I mean, you know, became a point where he had a revelation, and he turned his life around and you know, became a Pulitzer Prize winning writer. So a portion of that book, he says that in all situations, and this is where everybody out here listening to this podcast, you can practice this, and I'm telling you, you're gonna become a better person. In all situations, no matter how hard it is, take the high road. And he said, and if you are able to do this, in the end, you will come out better. So forgiving somebody is actually taking the high road. If someone does something egregious to you, it's going to be better for you to take the high road, forgive that person, reconcile with that person, not harbor that resentment, not harbor those feelings, because those feelings will consume you. And I'm gonna give you an example. I don't have too many problems with my son's mother, but we rarely have ever argued. And when my boys be like, man, why you never argue with Denise, man? Why you never argue with her? I said, because no matter what happened, no matter what the situation, I make sure I take the high road. And I make sure that my sons never see me argue. I make sure that in their mind, mom and dad love each other, because that woman had my son. I can never not love her. And I do it for myself. And this is where the wisdom come in. You do it for the kids. Because Alpha said something earlier about, you know, families. You don't let the kids see you disrespect their mother. You don't let the kids see you argue with their mother. Because when the kids are kids, and this is important, they gotta believe in love. They gotta believe in love. If a kid grows up not seeing love in his house, not seeing love in the household, he or she is gonna look beyond the household for love. And we know how that go. We know how that, I mean, they can fall in love with the right thing, but they can also fall in love with the streets. They can fall in love with a pimp. They can fall in love with people taking them in the wrong direction. Let them see that in the household, and that foundation start there. So what I'm saying is, we touched a lot of aspects of forgiveness, but the key point is it's individual, and everybody got to find, everybody got to find it within themselves. So my lesson to everybody would be, everybody listening to this podcast, you probably got somebody in your past. You might not have talked to that motherfucker in 20 years. Look him up. Look him up on social media. Send him an inbox. Man, you know what? It ain't even worth it, man. Before we leave this earth, man, I want to bury the hatchet. Your family member, call them up. You know, Aunt Louise, I know I said your apple pie tastes like shit. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. So everybody, just find one person. Everybody listening, just find one person and try it and see how it goes. That's all I got.
Hey, you right, Tweet. I agree, man. Because somebody, man, and I'm a speak for the softies for a second. I know Alfred will call me a fruit, but later on our own time. But release somebody.
He just texted me right now and said you are.
Yeah, release
Yes.
somebody.
Yes, bitch. Yeah.
We've talked about the forgiveness being about ourselves, but get somebody that relief, of the especially if they were sincere about, what they said to you. I think that's important. All this is opinion based that we from our experiences, but I think it's important that you do feel like this person is sincere, man. You know what I mean? And
Hey, since you walking down the path of punk buttness, does that have to do? Is that the same thing as like self-forgiveness, being able to forgive yourself for doing something fucked up? Because that's the one thing I have yet to be able to do.
Gotta be able to do that, bro. That's just as important, man. You
Nah,
gotta
but
be.
once again,
with
it's
that.
just some shit that is just so now. I ain't never did no death violation jumps. But there's some things that I've said to there are things that I have mostly said to people. You can't you just gotta eat that. And then just kind of make amends and be like, look, I realized I was fucked up, now I stay away. Or whatever purpose. But I think self-forgiveness is also a part of that is probably the most important piece that we really didn't discuss about.
And we didn't, and that is a good piece, man, of forgiveness.
You know what, too, Kenny?
Huh?
I said another thing we probably could have threw in there, man, is just being able to say, I'm sorry, man. You know what I'm saying? Just being able to say, I'm sorry, man. If you wrong somebody, man, hey, look, the way I look at it, man, especially y'all brothers right here, man, anybody I love and care for, any relationship I got right now, this is me, man, the type of person I am. If I wrong somebody, bro, like I'm man enough to say, look here, Kenny, I'm sorry for what I did, brother. I love you, I respect you, and I appreciate you. It won't happen again. I don't know why we can't do that, man. I feel like we can't say I'm sorry. I feel like we have a hard time saying I love you, to be honest with you. We gotta tighten up in so many ways, man. Go ahead.
I actually did touch on that in the beginning. I opened up with I feel like that everybody should receive a sincere apology before we start expecting someone to be forgiven. I think they do deserve, to receive that sincere apology if they have been wrong, man. But we can go on and on. I don't want to just drag this on when we can really dedicate another show to it, because there's so much more we need to talk about in that. But a few things before we end this week's episode, man. I want to talk to all the business owners that most of us here are all business owners.
Kenny,
yeah.
let me real quick. Let me say this real quick. Excuse me. Let me get this out real quick, because I think Alfred said something that was really profound, and I think it went over everyone's head when he talked about the word value. I don't think we really got that. I mean, that's key, that we don't value each other. And even you talked about after that, when you recall me mentioning how other cultures work together and they don't even like each other a lot of times, but they still work with each other to get the task completed. Why? Because they value each other. They understand how important each person is to their growth, their survival as a people. And we don't understand how valuable we are to each other. And that's why it's easy for us to say, well, forget you. I'm hurt. You go your way. I don't mess with you. I'm going to go my way. That's when you don't understand the value of each other. But see, as a man, as an alpha male, I understand the value of my people. And that's how we need to be, especially as men. We should be on our purpose. As men on our purpose, right? We should have goals. We should have individual goals. We should have goals for our families. And then we should have goals for our community. So we don't have time to be being offended and hurt by someone. We got to, when we get hurt or somebody do something wrong, we need to be dealing with that. And then we need to be getting over that, because I need you to get this done. Everybody has special gifts and talents that we need to progress as a people. We need each other. We need that. That's why we are valuable to each other. And that's why that word is key, man. We have to see and understand the value that each one of us had, whether we like their personalities, whether we like the way they smell, whether they look, that doesn't matter. We got work to get done. We gotta get there. So we don't have time to be worrying about small stuff, about you don't like the way they speak and things like that. We'll deal with that. If we don't like the way somebody's talking or speaking to us, we'll deal with that on the way. But in the meantime, let's get this stuff done. Let's get this work done so we can get to what we need to get to. That's all I'm saying. And that's the word value, man. That's key. We have to value each other. We have to see that we need that other person over there that we don't like something about. But we need their gift. We need their gift. We need their hands. We need numbers to complete our task. And that's all. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't want to be a preacher no more.
Yeah. It's about value and unification. We need the numbers to grow. And what I gathered from this today is a lot of it is like Tweet said is I think some people will, back off of how he worded it with taking the high road. But I got what I needed from that tweet. And not necessarily, some people, I can see some people not accepting that piece because of that wordplay. But what I gather from it is I'm gonna be my best in every situation, man. Every situation, and I know what that is, and I just got to be my best. And sometimes I don't want to be my best. I don't. I want to be 20 years ago a-hole that I know I can be. You know what I'm saying? But I just gotta suck my chest in and say,
You're good at it.
Let's keep
You're
moving.
good at it.
Yeah, I'm good at it, man. Yeah, I'm good at it. All that.
Hey, fuck that. I'm gonna stay high and take the low road.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm gonna thank y'all. And again, man, I wanted to add a piece. The SBA will be handing out money starting Wednesday for small businesses. It's been rough for us all, man. Y'all need to get on that. Our community need to be aware of those things, man. SBA Wednesday morning, man, and they're not letting those big corporations file for grants and money for the first 14 days. They're giving us the first 14 days, and it starts on Wednesday. What else? We got some more announcements coming up, man. We just want to thank y'all for your continued support. I want to thank my brothers for bringing very valued perspectives, man. We try to come to y'all from all different kinds of directions, as you can see, and bring it all together with one cause, one common goal, man. And that's some growth in our community. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my bad.
So, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank y'all for being here again, brothers. And hey, that's it. See y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace. Love you, mama. Adam.